Step 1, unwrap the cord tail coming out of the light.
Great. And you'll see that it sort of goes through the yolk, unwrapped.
Step 2, make sure the pipe bolt on the C-clamp is open enough, but not too much, so that you can hang it easily.
It's usually like a finger's width.
Step 3, lift the light onto the pipe batten with one hand on the yoke and one hand on the pipe bolt. The pipe bolt should face you. When hanging lights, try to keep the side that the pipe bolt is on consistent. Step 4, with one hand, tighten the pipe bolt until it is finger tight. Make sure the middle of the C is flush with the batten. You may release the light now. It will stay.
All right, I'm gonna thank you for continuing to go. So that's what this back part, right, that C-clamp really should be seated against here, because we don't want it flopping around. And I just did finger tight. And the thing that you want to do is, when it's this high, if it falls to the ground, you might stub your toe, right? Worse than that could happen, I guess. You could break a toe, that would really stink. But always keep a hand on it, particularly if you're up high. You're going to be super scared for like a long time. And that's okay. But try to keep a hand on it. Then we will go ahead and just lightly tighten this pipe bolt. Do I have something else about this on there?
You said to give it a wiggle.
Give it a wiggle. Oh yeah, the giving it a wiggle is just so that you can see, even at finger tight, it's not going anywhere, right? Like you'd have to loosen this a lot for it to really go somewhere. I give it just a little bit of a turn. Again, we don't want to like tighten this down hardcore here on the pipe bolt, because it starts to like create an indent on the pipe, which over time you can actually kind of cut your hand on it, or like enough indents and stuff. Also, it de-threads the pipe bolt if you tighten too much. You just need to give it a little like quarter, eighth of a turn, you know, and then give it a wiggle. Make sure it feels secure, and then you're good. Keep going next.
Step 6, attach the safety cable attached to the yoke around the pipe and back onto itself.
Great, so we're gonna go right around this sucker, back onto it. Most of them are through the yoke. We have gone through that. If we see one without a yoke, let me know, without it around the yoke, and I will try to fix that for you.
Step 7, point the light straight downstage.
Great, so downstage is that way. So this is where I'm gonna rotate this. Sometimes your thing gets a little twisty, that's okay. Now it's a little loose because I pointed it somewhere. So I want to give it just a little bit of a tighten on the yoke bolt, because we never want it to be loosey-goosey. Maybe right before we start focusing, we want to be able to turn it okay. We don't want it to be like moving on its own, right? So there we go. It's moving a little bit, but it's not moving on its own. That's okay.
Step 8 was about tightening the yoke bolt. Step 9, use the T handle. Use the T handle to angle the light at a 45-degree angle towards the floor.
Great, so it's a 45-degree angle. This isn't super important, but if you do have it at a 45-degree angle, it starts to make it a little bit easier once we get to focus.
Step 10, do an upright light check. Confirm that the gold lamp housing knob, pattern holder slot, and gel clip are all on the top of the light. Correct the error if they are not.
Great, so this is something I'll get into more detail later, but there is a gold knob on these. 2 of you have lights that are Fresnels, F-R-E-S-N-E-L. But there's a gold knob on these source bores here on the back. There's a slot for gobos or irises here, drop-in iris slot. And then there is the gel clip on the front. We want all 3 of those things to be on the top. That's an upright light check. Gold knob, gobo slot, and gel clip.
What did I just do? Oh, you have 2 steps.
Oh, nice.
Step 10.5. Pull out the shutters.
Okay, yeah, so the very last thing you want to do is pull out the shutters, which I already did. You always want to, when you strike a light, do this whole thing in reverse order. So the first thing you should do then in reverse is push in those shutters so they can get bent really, really easily. So without further ado,